What's up, the squad? Back with another video. Y'all seeing the title is going down. Make sure you hit the like button, hit that subscribe button for me, please. Y'all see it right here. It says here, Minnesota sues the Trump administration for federal invasion. That's how crazy. This is definitely how crazy it has gotten. They're doing everything in their power to keep the light, to keep that light that's been shed on them. You know, to keep it away. You know, they've been trying to do everything possible. Check it out right here.
Reuters is reporting Minnesota is suing DHS Secretary Kristi Noem in an effort to block the surge of immigration enforcement in the state. It's likely to be the headline at the press conference out of Minnesota we're expecting within the hour, scheduled to tip off in about 12 minutes, where we will bring it to you live.
Definitely insane. Not only that, and it gets worse. And the crazy thing is, as I set these up and as I show y'all, you know, and continue to show y'all each and every day. Y'all can go check these. Y'all can go check these out yourselves if y'all want to. But I've been seeing, you know, how bad it has gotten. Y'all hear Ilhan Omar says that the Trump administration is wasting U.S. taxpayers' money on investigating Somali fraud in Minneapolis. They're doing everything they possibly can, y'all. They're doing everything they possibly can. Everything. Even saying something as to where, and I've said before, I told my girl, I'm like, hey, they can come knock on the door. If it's any type of fraud, you know, within these daycares here where we live at, anything like that, would you like to support on, you know, we have these individuals, they need that, you know, they need airfare, they need a hotel, you know, and speaking of, you know, as far as agents, you know, they need a hotel, they need food. Would you like to support? Man, listen, I will support 100%, because it's so many things that's going on when it comes down to these Somalis with crime, with the fraud that's going on. Soon as I heard, soon as they touch down, get off the flight, 7 bands in your pocket. Not only that, but you're getting assistance. I don't see how people support this. There's people that served in the military, y'all, and they have trouble getting assistance. Having trouble getting assistance, y'all. And I have a problem with that. I truly have a problem with that. Don't sit there in the same sentence say that you care about our troops, you care about the homeless, and you care about the homeless vets that's on the street. But then again, you sitting here and you supporting criminals, supporting like that. That don't sit right with me.
So exhausted in trying to ask what any of this, information has led to you finding any criminals that you have indicted, that explains why you are wasting so much of our taxpayer resources and also terrorizing our communities in the amount of federal law enforcement agents that you have in the streets of our city and our state. There needs to be some sort of justification.
That's sickening. It's very sickening. I'm telling y'all. Very, very sickening. Then she goes on CBS, y'all. Says Ilhan Omar say ignore the Somalian fraud taking place. Trump is just trying to create fear. So now they're saying that President Trump is just trying to create fear, y'all. How is President Trump trying to create fear? How is he trying to create fear with something like again, this is something of more so of a distraction, because they truly know that things aren't going good for them. Things are not going good for them. Check it out right
Treasury
here.
Secretary Bessent called Minnesota ground zero for what may be the most egregious welfare scam in our nation's history to date. 85 of the 98 people who were charged by the Justice Department with this welfare scheme are Somali. And you know this. The Treasury Secretary is probing whether any of the money was somehow funneled outside the country. He actually issued new standards. He's going to make make someone disclose if they receive public assistance when they try to wire money out of the country. And he's lowered the bar for suspicious activity. What is the practical impact of doing that in the community?
It's just creating fear. What they are doing is creating confusion, chaos, trying to intimidate people from being able to exercise their regular, normal activities that they would. There is no justification in any of the things that they say. The 87 people that you've described as being investigated, many of them adjudicated, all happened under the Biden administration. There is no justification for this search. We know that ICE has the ability to conduct raids. There is no reason to have over 2,000 people coming in to our city and creating the level of terror that.
Okay, so let me say this. First of all, add another 1,000 to that because they're sending 1,000 more agents. Y'all have all this crime going down, even before, that situation happened with Renee. And she's saying that that's not called for. You literally got these individuals at shopping malls, y'all. Shopping malls that's causing destruction.
They have
speaking on Somalians.
The administration argues that they have to do it because the state failed to, right?
The federal government and the state have been working peacefully together and have brought justice to these 87 people that you've described. None of this search that they have conducted has produced any sort of criminal activity. They haven't been able to charge anyone as of yet.
I was about to say, I don't know who worse, her or Jasmine Crockett, but I truly feel like nobody can. I don't know. I truly feel, as far as the fraud, I don't know. They neck and neck with that too. I definitely say, because I truly feel like it take a, boy, Jasmine Crockett is a different breed. She reminds me of her. It's just the things that she's saying. It's not making sense. Like we all seeing it.
Treasury Secretary Bass.
We're all seeing it, and for a fact the Trump administration sees way more. So if we can see just a little bit of that, we know, the lies, I'm telling y'all, definitely know the lies. Says it's official. FBI investigations are being launched after $700 million was found in Somali suitcases at Minneapolis airport. And you are telling me that these agents don't need to be there. Somalian carriers, were attempting to transport the money to the Middle East, trying to get as much money out of the country as possible. I'm telling y'all.
Developments in Minnesota. We're going to turn our attention back to the Somali fraud investigation. As we've discussed before, authorities have discovered suitcases containing hundreds of millions of dollars in a Minnesota airport. Now, in the meantime, Republicans are working to cut funding for Somali-led organizations with alleged ties to the massive fraud scandal. Now, as the FBI pushes forward with its own investigation, one key question arises. What does accountability even look like in this case moving forward? So joining us now to talk about all of this and more is New York Congresswoman Claudia Tenney. Congresswoman, thanks so much for being with us tonight.
Great to be on with you, too. What a crazy time we're seeing here, aren't we?
Absolutely insanity. And I know oversight in the House is looking into these fraud allegations, but I wonder if it's even bigger than we have uncovered thus far. The $700 million in cash going out of the airports there. I have a feeling we are still just scratching the surface.
Yeah, it looks really bad, and obviously very alarming to see that this U.S. cash has been legally going through our airports. And of course, there is a requirement of reporting if you're going to carry more than $10,000. There's a reporting requirement, but I think a really interesting part about this is if, isn't it going to be a little suspicious when you start seeing 10,000, 100,000, millions, and now, more, as John reported earlier, more money that goes through JFK, goes through the Minneapolis airport. Something's wrong there. And I think something that's very interesting that we impose on banks is that banks are required under banking law to require and file and keep track of what they call suspicious activity reports. This is something I think we need to do now when we see the large amounts of U.S. cash, and it's always U.S. cash. I mean, you're not going to see, Chinese yen or anything else going through there. And U.S. cash is king, and we need to certainly have this type of cash exchange reported. It's interesting because you see all this illegal immigration we've had over this time. And by the way, most of those Somalis that are in Minnesota probably came through a refugee program, and probably many of them are already legal American citizens. So suspicious activity reports, some kind of accounting for cash, I think would really be helpful.
This individual right here just took the words right out of my mouth. They saying 700 million was found in these Somali suitcases in Minneapolis. This is just what they have found. I ain't gonna say we found. This is just what they have found. The 700 million. I know for a fact there's been way more than this. I know for a fact, man. Psh. Y'all are supporting individuals that are getting money. Not only just money. They come in here, they working. Not that. Man, they come in here, they getting the free. I'm talking about they getting food stamps. They getting assistance to live while doing this. Not only that, y'all. They getting $7,000. Already got a so-called job to where they getting this money. And y'all know what they doing with all of this? They getting that bread. It's going back to Somalia. But you want to know what's real funny about this whole situation that I find completely insane? Is that these individuals are here. You know, these individuals are here. And they're doing this and they're doing that. Y'all got people protesting. Have y'all not figured out yet? And I'm going to go over this tomorrow as well because I got a video to show y'all. Have y'all not figured out yet that there's Somalians that ain't even at these protests? If y'all go and look at all the protests. I want y'all to go look at all the protests, y'all. And I'm sure many of y'all saw. These individuals are not even at the protest, y'all. Those Somalians not at the protest. And it just goes to show y'all that everything that they're doing, everything that they're possibly doing, y'all, everything, they are playing in y'all's faces. When are y'all actually going? Not y'all know who I'm talking about. You know, the negative, you know, the people that's in the comments that ain't listening, that's supporting what Ilhan Omar. Y'all know who I'm talking about. When are y'all going to wake up and realize they just playing in y'all face? They getting all the money they can, and it's going back to Somali. People need to think, man. People need to think. Not only that, I told y'all it gets worse. Ilhan Omar shows her support for groups that literally go and do all this mess and cause, you know, this harm to ICE agents in the street throughout Minneapolis. Check it out.
Hey everyone, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar here in Cedar Riverside, Minneapolis with the Cedar Riverside Protection Alliance. I am so grateful for the fact that they are out here doing the important work, one, of informing the community of what is happening with these ICE raids, making sure that they are challenging ICE agents to have judicial warrants, and making sure that our communities have the resources that they need. Thank you, everyone. We are only protected if we protect one another. So thank you.
Sick. Very sick. When individuals see this and they looking at, this is no excuse. People listen to Ilhan Omar and Tim Walz and all of them. People listen to them. Trust and believe. That's what we got to realize too. People actually listen to these individuals. And she's saying right here to challenge ICE agents. To challenge them? The words that they're using, y'all. So you got, and you got Ilhan Omar saying, to challenge, you know, these ICE agents. What you think other people gonna do? They're gonna put on exactly, I showed y'all another video. I gotta stay tuned for them videos that I be putting out because I always try to throw something in there. It was some individuals that was literally dressed exactly with these green jackets on, that was on bicycles acting like police officers, blocking traffic. If this stuff don't get figured out now, I definitely feel like it could definitely get worse. They got to figure it out. But one thing about it, says right here, 1,000 more agents are surging to be in Minnesota. Check it out.
DHS sources tell Fox up to 1,000 additional agents will surge the Minneapolis area. That's on top of the already 2,000 agents that are here. But the Democratic mayor, Jacob Fry, says these agents are going to be met with resistance.
I'm telling y'all. One thing about it is that you got 1,000 more federal agents that will be there. Truly. And the reason on why, you know, she's doing this, why she's pushing so hard when you got Tim Walz, you got Jacob Fry that pushing so hard for all of this. Says here, Ilhan Omar is facing intense scrutiny, and insiders are reportedly on edge. Whistleblowers allege her campaign channeled large sums to her husband's firm, while Somali-linked networks in Minneapolis were tied to what's being described as one of the largest relief fraud schemes with hundreds of millions at stake. Says here, she knew, she benefited, and she helped conceal it, which many of y'all know. I'm telling you.
Well, now investigators are tracking the web of fraud to other Minnesota Democrats, such as Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. Many of the suspects linked to the scheme live in her district, including a restaurant owner who hosted events for her. He has since been convicted of stealing $12 million in cocaine.
All of what they're doing, they're taking, allegedly, I have to say, a lot of money. Truly a lot of money. You have right here, says reports that Ilhan Omar, her husband, is profiting from the Minnesota Somalia fraud taking place. It's said that Ilhan is definitely at the top of the suspect list when it comes down to it. Check it out.
There are reports that members of Congress are actually receiving daycare and healthcare clinic money funneled through various PACs. If this is true and widespread, how can the American people trust Congress to task and uncover the far-reaching tentacles of this fraud?
Any member of Congress that's getting any money unethically or illegally, there's an ethics committee, and it's a bipartisan. It's an equal number of Republicans and Democrats, and that's the committee that's supposed to investigate members of Congress. The ethics committee was created. We have in our rules that we're not supposed to investigate other members, but the ethics committee has a staff, and that is their sole purpose for existence in life. And I think the House Ethics Committee traditionally has been a lot harder on unethical behavior than the Senate Ethics Committee. That's my opinion. But anybody that has information on a member of Congress, bring that to the Ethics Committee and they'll investigate it. And I don't care if they're Republican or Democrat. We need to hold them accountable.
What about Ilhan Omar?
Well, I mean, she's at the top of the suspect list in that, so we'll see. But I can tell you, my members, there are going to be ethics complaints filed against Omar. She had an opportunity to come in here today.
Yeah, she was actually right across the hall at the Black Caucus lunch.
If there was anything about Kentucky, I would have been there, and I think that's the way it is with most members, especially the Somali. This is a hearing about Somali fraud. There have been countless reports that her husband has profited in some way, and she in some way, shape, or form. I don't know if that's true or not, but she could have had an opportunity to come in here and defend herself. So hopefully you all may knock on her door.
One thing that you know they can't do is take accountability. And they're not going to say nothing because they know the trouble that they're in. I mean, easy as that. They know the trouble that they're in. Says here, Ilhan Omar's husband has closed all of his private businesses, removing all websites. That's what's told on here. Says the walls are closing in on the fraudsters of Minnesota. I'm telling y'all. Says House Republicans are considering forcing a vote expelling Democratic Representative Ilhan Omar, and it truly needs to be done ASAP. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Definitely. Do y'all agree? Because I definitely want them to. You know, I think it's definitely, you know, that time. Stay tuned for the next video dropping tonight. Definitely apologize for dropping so late. Much love, everybody. Catch y'all next one.